For years, Nigeria has celebrated the brilliance and influence of women in civil society advocacy, business, and community leadership. Yet these strengths have not translated into their presence in elected office, with women occupying just 4.5% of elective positions. The gap remains one of the most persistent challenges in our democratic journey. From economic barriers to political culture, and from informal power structures to institutional constraints, the factors holding women back are layered and uniquely Nigerian. Tonight, on Electoral Reform Half Hour, we turn our spotlight to understanding why this gap persists and what it will take to truly strengthen women political participation. How can we build a leadership pipeline that does not break when it reaches politics? What cultural, economic, and institutional shifts are necessary, and what will meaningful, measurable progress look like for Nigerian women seeking to lead? I am Ezenwangwagu. Welcome to Electoral Reform Half Hour on NTA News 24 Abuja. This program is brought to you by the Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa with support from MacArthur Foundation. ENE is a veteran gender and development activist in Nigeria with deep experience in governance, democratic participation, and electoral issues. She currently serves as gender advisor for Search for Common Grounds Nigeria. She previously held roles such as National Coordinator, Feminist Movement of Nigeria, and Steering Committee member of the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NEITI. Her public advocacy has included strong focus on inclusive electoral processes, women participation in politics, internal party democracy, and behavioral change in the political culture of Nigeria. Glad to have you on the program today.
Thank you, and congratulations for this contribution to our democracy, and the background very rich. I was just carried away, like young people would say they were blown away. Like that.
It's not only young people, even silver-haired people like you can always be blown away.
So I'm blown back into the studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. This is very rich.
So let's get into it. Okay. Yeah, Nigeria has many strong women in civil society, but with very few elected into office. Why does the leadership pipeline break when it gets to politics?
Yeah, this is conversation we've been having, and we don't seem to be making much progress in this area, because only yesterday at the National Human Rights Commission flag-off event for the 16 days of activism, we all asked ourselves and said, so what is the problem really that we are not making the desired progress, and why are we not able to come up with a movement that will push, that will be very inclusive? And the conclusion was that unless the women in civil society will begin to see an alternative way of pushing for the space to be opened up, we will not have it. Take, for example, when Ambassador Nkoyo Toyo pushed and she was there were many. So you begin to ask that somebody like Bumi Dikpo-Salami, Yeye Bumi Dikpo-Salami, what happened? Why is she resting? We had this conversation yesterday too. Somebody like me too, that contested the election and it looked like I was running away. What happened? And Iberi Ifendo, who have been in civil society and been doing so well in politics. So why can't we do more? Why don't we see the link between the work we are doing in civil society, politics, governance, and public life? Why are we restricting ourselves? So this has been the conversation that we are not making enough progress on, and we have decided that we must sit down and see how the knowledge we have in civil society can be translated into our capacity to be within the political space. So open it up, because the political space is so restrictive, is so resistant. So you need some kind of energy to be able to break into that space. So these are the conversations we are coming to terms with now. And we want to see a number of women who have been strong in civil society that went into politics who want to remain there. Why do they go in and come out? That has been the question.
I want to hear your own story.
Yeah,
Just briefly, because
yes, at the time, when it was almost difficult, when it looked like the women in politics would tell us that politics is not advocacy. We say you can do this. Some of the things we read in theory and some of the things we observe. So we were in this illusion that it's easy to play politics. And I said, well, why don't we try? So somebody like Barrister Iberi Ifendu and Bumi, Yeye Bukmi Dikposalami encouraged me, go and contest. So when I picked up the form, I was so surprised that the political space is so fortified, is so violent, is so deceptive, is so fluid that we needed to strategize more to be able to be key players. So the first shock that I received was that I was unconsciously excluded. When this thing was getting to a close, the nomination was getting to a close, the first thing my presidential candidate called me and said, look, I understand that they will not accept a woman to be a governorship candidate in Benue. It will not fly. It's better you become a deputy and you'll be one of the superstars, one of the best deputies. Somehow I was deceived into accepting. That the deception did not stop there. The next thing I saw was that my name was removed from the INEC system. How did that happen? For so many reasons, we will not want to talk about that for now, for the sake of patriotism and so that we don't offend the sensibility of certain persons and the institution. My name was removed. I never knew such thing could happen to me. So it was a learning curve for me. So for many of us in civil society, when we tell the women politicians you can do this based on what we have read and interaction with other countries, we think we have known so much we can navigate the landscape of politics. Is quite difficult. So this is the challenge I've come to. I've been strategizing. I'm not awful.
I'm going to come to that, but it is not always participation may not necessarily be just contesting.
Yeah, right.
There are many other ways
Absolutely.
in which civil society can also contribute politically.
Yeah.
But how much of economic dependency do you think is part of the reason for this exclusion? And in your view, what are the strategies that we can use to mitigate?
You know, as an economist, I've always told a number of principles, a number of theories who are taught. I realize that when it comes to Nigerian economy and the political landscape, it doesn't work well. And why is it so? It is deliberate. Each time we talk about to women about context, political context, they will tell you the biggest problem is finance. It's not finance, though it's a key issue. It's one of the biggest challenges. I still have not been able to understand why many males who come in different forms, like those who parade themselves as interested in democracy and some who are outright godfathers, who are political entrepreneurs, they are willing to sponsor men, but not women. So you ask them, some will just laugh. Others will just tell you, well, it's not yet time. So when is the time? The time should be now, because we are not having it easy. So to that extent, money is a major issue, but it's not the biggest issue when it comes to contest. It's the acceptance first. If you accept it, then you can get funded. That's what the men do. They go to talk to political gladiators and they say, I don't know the details of what they discuss. They just accept them. But when we go, maybe we are too realistic, we are too genuine to change the landscape, to make the political space more inclusive. And because those who sponsor, they don't want an inclusive political system, they see us as a risk. So that could be one of the reasons, but we are still trying to see how we can get those who really see us adding value as is done in other clients. Look at the embarrassing statistics you talked about. That is the reality. All the statistics are just like this. We don't want to use our mouth to say certain things. So money is a key issue because women depend on male figures, either as husbands, as sponsors, as even those within the political party. Political parties don't even see women as adding so much value because we don't have that. We don't come with violence. We don't come with
You don't have
all
the
other.
you don't have the war chests.
Yes, to do
or
that.
The deep pockets.
You don't have it. So if you also are able to sponsor a woman and she wins, and by the time it's okay, bring half of the treasury, they say, oh my God, the children, by the time they start all the analysis, they don't want such stories. They want somebody who say, okay, you bring this percentage of the whole treasury or the money that is coming in. Even if it's money allocated for constituency office, you bring it, then becomes a problem. But that shouldn't be, because women are interested in the well-being and welfare of everybody within the political space and outside the political space, not only those who are in politics. So to that extent, we should look for how we get women. The resources should be equitable so that women benefit from the resources of Nigeria.
Over your career, you've engaged, and I know you've spoken with a lot of women. Yes. But as we go towards break, what is the biggest misunderstanding young Nigerian women have about politics?
When I was going into politics, a number of them came and said, look, they are sympathizing with me because they've lost one of their own. I say, why? They say, because politics is dirty, politics is violent, and politics is full of evil. There are people who are playing clean politics, both men and women, but somehow women play more clean politics than the men for some strange reasons. I say strange because it's not justified.
But I don't know whether you have statistics to back that up.
We have now. If you go to ICPC or EFCC or police, go to all the security agents, all the vices that are connected to political deviance, you will see that it is males. That's why I say
more males.
More males than women.
But for
it's
whom
like
do they do
90.
it?
No. They do it for themselves mostly. They don't do it for society. So to that extent, you will notice that it's quite problematic for us as a country. So you agree with me that for us to be able to navigate all this, we need to have a rethink. That's why I'm quite excited about your program. Like somebody told me, oh, if I'm not able to listen, please, I'd like to have the video because I've been following the conversation. So we have to try our best to be able to bring things to be on course. Otherwise, it's our country that is suffering for it. It's very important.
And then we'll go on a short break now. When we return, electoral reform half hour continues shortly. Stay with us. Glad to have you back. We're still speaking with ENE, the gender and development activists. ENE, you were talking about, you were chest thumping about how much women are playing clean politics.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. But so in spite of all of these, why do you think there are still these cultural, structural barriers that are still holding women down? And not just in terms of contesting positions, because even in community leadership, you still find that women are not finding their...
Yeah, you know, even within family leadership, when I say family, nuclear family, extended family, because you know, people are quick to forget that when you talk about gender, it's about the sexes, male and female. But that what brings the barrier or the obstacle is the male dominance, patriarchy. So everywhere you go, you find patriarchy, and that is the bone of contention at many structures, at many spheres of influence. So it's quite important that looking at that, we should be able, as people created with equal value. When I say equal value, now I'm not saying that men and women are equal in terms of the way God created, and that man and woman should contest who should be in charge of the family. No, I'm saying that God created them equitably so that they complement each other. So if we agree with that, we should be able to bring it into every aspect of work, community, politics, faith, and everywhere. And it's as a result of not doing this that we're having all these gaps. Take, for example, in community, in the pre-colonial Africa, men and women, we had the House of Men, House of Women. And the House of Men was the supreme arbiter. That is, any thorny issue that was not resolved within the House of Men, they refer it to the women and they resolve it. There was no contention. And that didn't stop women from submitting to the power, to the authority of men. So the authority was not used in such an overbearing manner that it was not benefiting men and women. In those earlier times, you notice that persons with disabilities, youth, children, women, everybody was given his or her due. But now you find a situation that everything is just being taken. And we view that as a serious infraction on nature and creation, because you are meant to complement each other. You are meant to work together. Even the laws we have, like the VAP law especially, if you look at section 23, there's political violence. So if you deliberately exclude or marginalizes one sex, either male or female or youth, it's a problem. It's act of violence. An act of violence is not accepted by even God or nature. Even animals, we are not expected to be cruel. So every aspect of exclusion, it also has impact or effect on every community, every political space, every workspace, so that it doesn't give us any value when we do that.
Electoral reform, have our it's partner NTA. We create these platforms for you to have your say, and so we don't have any. Today is your day, because I will have broken down, different cultural, even in the prehistoric time that you're talking about, ageism, for instance. The proverbs that you hear all over the place, that what a young man will stand and see, the old man sitting down will see much more, which is actually exclusionary. Most of those proverbs are exclusionary, but that's not for today. Do you think that if more women get into politics and this system remains the same, do you think progress? Do you think that will be progress? Is it about number?
It's also about number. You know why? It's because it's about voice. It's about presence. It's about representation. Okay, we are two here. We can talk, we can reason. But if you have 5 men and you have only me, the tendency is that masculinity, the person will want to take side with you. But if we are more, have young women, have older women, we have women from different clans, different thinking, you notice that it will be easier for us to come to a compromise. We'll have a conversation, we'll have a dialogue. This is why the reserved seat is one of the best things that will be happening to us as a country when approved by the National Assembly and put in the Constitution. Because it will swell the number of women that will be there. Take, for example, the Senate, 4 women. The House of Representatives, 14 women out of 360. Senate, 4 out of 109. And you know, when things come to a certain level, they put it to vote. Even with the voice vote, is there any way the women, 4 women will shout that their voice will be as large as the 105 men? No. So the number of the State Assembly with this arrangement, the State Assembly, the House of Representatives, and the Senate, for a start, for the first 4 years, the first electoral cycle, you will see the change. Even the thinking alone, with the campaign that is going on alone, you can see that a lot of people are happy, both men and women, to say, look, help has come. We are going to see a democracy that is robust, that you have the ideas from everywhere, and it will bring positive impacts and outcomes. It has happened in all the countries that have engaged with this kind of affirmative action, different types of affirmative, including Saudi Arabia. See the progress they are making. What has been their challenges, like this insecurity, teenage pregnancy, fear, emotional imbalance, trauma, all of them have been overcome suddenly. What hardware could not do for them, what war could not do, machines could not do for them, is being done now. So that shows that the number of women with disabilities, different kinds of women, professional women, women who have served in the military, that have been grossly underutilized, and you bring young people and bring the men of different categories together, you see that we have governance, will grow a governance that has never been. And you see the different ideas coming together. We may be disagreeing, no, but
So
if we don't disagree,
how long do you think it will take us with the way things? In few
well,
seconds.
people say 100 years,
30
but for
no,
me,
I mean 35%.
no, I don't.
How long?
I don't want to think like that, because you see how this came up with the rejection of the 5 bills initially, but now we are coming up. It's the men now, the Senate President, the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker are the ones now who are pushing for this, and you can see a movement is emerging gradually. So for me, within this test period of 16 years that we want to test the special seats, you'll be surprised. 16 years would have been able to grow a better democracy.
Anyway, Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center, we've devoted October and a part of this November to supporting the reserve seat bill. We did on the 25th of October. We had women. It's nearly an all-women panel, except that Dr. Lars was here,
Okay.
and you are here, and we've been drawing that. It's just our way of saying it's time. It's a women o'clock.
Yeah.
And it's time for that reserve seat
Yeah.
bill. This is where we draw the curtain in this episode of Electoral Reform Half Hour, and we wish to specially thank you, EDE, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity.
Well, this was it's our pleasure having you. Electoral Reform Half Hour is brought to you by Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, with support from MacArthur Foundation. We are live every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. with a repeat broadcast every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. on this same station. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Ezenwawawu.